For his first ever podcast, we went South Cerney. He's nervous, he's awkward, this will be a journey. First guest was Garner, who felt equally unready. Up until 3 a.m, should have been in bed, but he was mapping out the timeline of the club's history, to wake up in the morning and share it all with you and me, your people, the places.
Hello and welcome to the Fishery Fast Lane podcast. This is my debut podcast, so I don't know how this is going to unfold, but we've come to the waterpark, the Cotswolds Waterpark, 20 minutes from my door, to really where it all began for me with carp fishing. And we're joined with Garner from South Cerney Angling Club. Dan, how would you summarise your role in South Cerney Angling Club?
So, I'm Fisheries manager for South Cerney Angling Club. I've been involved with this place for 47 years. I'm 51 this year, so as far as I can remember, to be honest, when I was a young lad. But yeah, now I'm the fisheries manager.
Okay.
So,
would I be right in saying that South Cerney Angling Club is the biggest and oldest club in the water park?
yeah, so it was established in July 1936. So originally it started with 7 anglers that used to fish on the River Churn. The River Churn that runs through the village. So there was 7. There's Jim State, Cecil Daffin, I think, Les Gilman, Bill Williams, Mr. Orcott. I don't know if it's J. Orcott, but I don't know if it was John or something like that, not sure. R. Clinch and Fred Matthews. That's what the first, they call themselves the Magnificent Seven, I guess.
Right.
The first guys that first established South Cerney Angling Club. So it was those guys. And then they first of all they rented a small lake in Station Yard Pool in the village. And they had 3 fields of the churn as well. They used to fish for the trout and stuff.
In the rivers?
Yeah, in the rivers,
Right.
yeah. But also, I think they used to have a lot of grayling, because when I was younger, they used to have a lot of grayling and chub and in the rivers, and dace too. Used to have a lot of fish like that there. So they rented a small lake in the Station Yard Pool in the village. And like I said, about 3 miles of the churn, or 3 fields of the churn, sorry. And the lake in the village was originally owned by the GWR, the Great Western Railway, because the railway used to run through the village years ago,
right,
at the end of Station Road. So we've got the old bridge.
Right.
So that's where the station, the railway used to run
Goes
along.
into Kemble.
Yeah, it used to run into Siren and it used to run up to Birmingham and everywhere, yeah. It's a shame that it disappeared, because it'd been great having the railway there, I think. Yeah. And so the lake they leased the lake from GWR. I think back in the day, it was £2.10 that they rented that for. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then the churn, a guy, I think it was a guy called Mr. Habgood, something like that. He was a farmer. And I think the agreement was just drop in a trout or 2 like every now and then as payment, for like having the lease on the fields.
Simple life back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was so much paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how it started. So you had, back then, I think they had the meetings at Jim's house. Right. The first committee meetings, what they call.
Right.
So Jim was the chairman. Cecil Daffin was the secretary, and Bill Williams was the treasurer
Right.
back then. And then you had Les and Fred and Mr. Alcock and Mr. Kinch, the other guys that used to help run it. So I think after the first year, I think they had 18 members.
Right.
After the first year.
Okay.
And then as it started building a bit, like the second and third year, they employed a bailiff.
Right.
The first bailiff was Mr. Tanner,
Right.
who got a free membership, and I think his wages was 10 shillings for the year. Yeah.
So what do you know? I don't suppose you know what they would have charged back then. Would they have been straight into profit in their first year with?
I think 19. So it was established in 1936. I think in the first 10 years, 1946, they had £52 in the bank.
Right.
Yeah. Which has probably got them quite a bit of money.
Then, yeah, you'd have thought so.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then sort of in the next sort of 10, 11, 12 years, the membership started increasing considerably. Because then, yeah.
But what was the first water that you have now that you would have, that water, do you no longer have this station?
No, so what happened is they were promised that they could, if it come up for sale, that they could buy it.
Right.
Right. But what happened was a guy moved in to the village from outside.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where he was from, but say London or somewhere like that. And he kind of bought it. He moved in the village and purchased the pool, like underneath him.
Okay, pulled the rag from underneath.
Yeah, pulled the sort of rag from underneath him.
Right, so then they were left for nothing all of a sudden.
Which
Well,
they
rivers.
They were like kind of left with nothing.
Wow.
And I think they tried to, to debate about it and stuff, saying that, we were promised this and whatever, but
Right.
I think it just...
so it nearly folded before it even started for them then, really.
Kind of like that.
Wow. So how did the next opportunity come up then?
So what happened was, I think they joined in 1950, I think, 1951. They joined the Swindon District AA, which made them a member of the NFA. Yeah.
NFA.
Yeah. National Federal Association,
Right.
which then you could fish the national championships and stuff as well.
Right.
Yeah, which sort of brought them up a bit, and they purchased Ann Pool, I think, from Mr. Bradley. This one here,
Right.
It was 11 acres, and I think they paid for this £110.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like back then, my grandfather's a story with my grandfather as a dairy farm, and he had an opportunity back then to buy the village, and the figure was just ridiculous. And now you thought if he went for that opportunity, he probably wouldn't have to have a dairy farm. But
That's right,
it just shows how it's all nowadays, how quickly it's exploded into, especially on the Cotswolds, the value of everything and what that's done to the sort of the fishing landscape as such. But okay, so then you bought Hampool. And then did you build the clubhouse? I suppose this was there a fishery here already when they bought this?
Yeah, so they bought Hampool, but when they bought it, it was very shallow, I think.
Right.
Yeah. But going back from it, I think let me get this right. So after all that fell through, they spoke to Mr. Bradley as well, which the wash pool over at Bradley's, which was over the other side, it was about 4 acres, that they started leasing that. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what they started leasing. I can't remember, when was it? I think it was...
I'll say at this point, there's some people that are really good with dates, and myself included, I'm pants for this. I've got customers that knows dates and times of everything. And I know Dan was in here this morning scribbling down dates and trying to figure out.
I was trying to figure out everything. But
I'm one of those people, I can't remember dates and years or anything. But some people are just straight on it.
They're straight on it. Yeah.
Okay, so Hampole was the first pit.
So the first one that they purchased was Hampole. It was, like I said, £110. But then they rented Bradley's, which was the wash pool to start with, which was 4 acres. They first had the opportunity to rent that as well.
Right.
So they rented that. And then after a while, they rented the whole lake, Bradley's and Hills.
Right.
Which I think the rents on those two lakes were £40 a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. £40 for Bradley's and £40 for Hills.
Wow.
Yeah, for the rent. And I think Bradley's had a 10-year lease.
Right.
They had a 10-year rolling lease on that one. But Hills, they wouldn't give them a long lease like that. They would only give them like a yearly lease. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd give them 45 for that. Fair play. Right. Okay. So Bradley's. So that was in South Cerney Angling Club.
Yeah, I grew up on there.
Okay.
So you had Bradley's and Hills and Hampole.
Hills is another big pit, isn't it? The other side of Bradley's.
Yeah, it's just
about. How big is that? The 90 acre.
Yeah, they were both about 100 acres, I guess.
Oh, really? Crikey.
Acres, yeah.
So a lot of water from the off for peanuts, really.
Yeah.
And the membership then, do you know what sort of size, how many members they had at that sort of time?
I'm not sure on the size of the membership, but I know later on the membership went up to about 1,500.
Right.
Yeah, which is similar to what we have nowadays.
Right.
Yeah, so our membership here is about, it's been around 1,400.
Right. Wow.
1,400.
Okay.
Yeah. But like I said, they purchased this place, but it was really shallow as well at the day. So Mr. Bradley helped them dig it out, so they made it deeper. Mm-hmm. And this place used to have lilies all around it.
Right.
It used to be beautiful. Yeah. There's some old photographs. So just lilies everywhere, and there was just like a little cut, and you fished in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the fish, it was really good. I loved it. That.
Back in them days, were you stocking? Were you buying fish and introducing fish, or were there fish pre-existing your tenancy there? Or when you purchased this, was there fish?
Yeah,
before your time a bit.
I think what they did is when they had that station pool, they purchased 50 10-inch mirror carp from Belgium.
Right.
But then after that problem, when that guy bought it, they were allowed to fish it. So they fished it and they caught 38 of them, and they were up to £25. And then they moved them, and they put those carp into Bradley's.
Okay.
From that station pool. Right. But what happens when they started leasing Bradley's and Hills, remember? Some of those carp were caught in Hills. So there was a pipe that went between the two lakes. So the fish must have gone up into there, or someone's put them in there, because they were some of the carp that they put them all into Bradley's, but some of the carp were caught in the Hills pit. So you either swam through the pipe, or they were caught by somebody and put them in there. So that's what happened.
Do you think they still exist today, or?
Well, generally they live for about 30 to 35 years, don't they? So probably some of those are long gone.
Right. Yeah. It's funny, you couldn't get away with stocking 10-inch carp nowadays with the cormorants around it.
I know, yeah.
That's mad.
Definitely. So
then you had your asset was Hampole back in them days, and then you were leasing the other waters.
Well, so we had a clubhouse originally as well, though. So we had a clubhouse on the headland over at Bradley's. So they had the authorization to build a clubhouse, which is a wooden clubhouse, which is on the headland over on Bradley's. It's by the land. They call it the landings now, don't they? I think.
I don't know Bradley's.
I think it's got these like £1 million houses on it.
Right.
I think Daisy May Cooper were renting one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think Daisy was doing one.
Huh.
renting one there. But as a kid, there was I used to love fishing there. Around there, you just fish off the ledge and used to fish for the tench and stuff there, and I used to get some big rudd. And anyway, every year we used to have a barbecues there. So it used to be like the start of the fishing season when they had the close season. So June 16th, the night before the June 16th, the start. So we'd have a big barbecue there, and they'd have clay pigeon shooting. They would have Skittles, outside Skittles. They'd have like speedboat rides for us kids and that. It was great. It was fantastic. Some big barbecues and stuff. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
But
I always remember that.
the pits back then, were they in their infancy, like very barren, and were they, how old were they?
Yeah,
been, like,
so they
Bradleys
were, so originally they were dug, I think they were dug to build the M4, I think, some of it. Yeah, like Bradleys and that.
Yeah, because that always find when the pits are fresh and new and barren, how like the first stock that go in just flourish and like really fill into the space with a fresh pit.
Well, yeah,
as they mature.
there was nothing on there. There was only like just big gravel banks, and yeah, it was very barren. It was just big gravel banks, and then you had to like pick out a couple of. There might be one bush, that we'd know that. Or there was some reeds or something, and we used to fish either side the reeds, and that was the swim. But apart from that, there was hardly any feature. You know, there was nothing but sort of big gravel banks and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
But I remember this side of the place. You had there was a pumping station. They used to be the black stuff, and then they used to go into like a little canal, and they used to have a pumping station up there, and all the silvers and some of the fish used to be pushed up in there from the pike in the winter months, and we used to go and fish there, and it was great. And in the close season, you could look over and you'd see all the fish swimming up and down,
Right.
all the tench, bream, carp. It was fantastic.
Was angling back then? Was it more? Were people fishing for anything? Was it like today? It seems like carp angling, and it's kind of sectioned into carp angling, match angling. Was it different?
Well, yeah, because these were generally tench waters. They were probably some of the best tench waters in the country, to be honest. Yeah. You could go and catch 100 pound of tench, in a session easily.
Wow.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah. Were they seeded, or do you think were they stocked, or they?
I think they stocked a few.
Right.
They did stock a few
It's
fish.
funny how they seem to pop up.
Yeah.
Around the park, whether they're transferred easily by birds or whatnot.
But no, they it was predominantly tench.
Right. Okay.
With a few carp.
Right.
Yeah, and some bream, and then you used to see the rudd swimming around the big shoal. You used to get this big rudd. You'd be there fishing for the tench or whatever, and then you'd see the shoulder rudd coming across the top, and you'd all go up quickly and cast out, and you might catch one or two of them.
Yeah.
But they'd be like rudd, like 2-3 pound rudd.
Wow.
They were like crackers.
Oh, I love rudd that big.
Yeah.
But you don't see them nowadays so much, do you? With the cormorants and stuff about. Do you still get them?
So some of our best rudd lake is the Wick now.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know. So
okay.
I took a friend of mine, Dr. Mark Everard, there last week, and he said to me, "Oh, Dan, I want to go and catch some rudd." I said, "Okay, I'll take you catch some rudd." I keep saying to Martin Salter, another friend, he wants to catch them. I keep asking him down to come and have a go at catching some rudd, because Franklin's, where it's just been predominantly a carp water, the rudd get forgotten about, and the rudd have grown really big in there. And a few years back, the committee said, they wanted to get some tench and some silvers for Gilman's, and they wanted to buy them. And I said, "Well, why you want to buy them for? We've already got them." And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, just like the carp boys don't want the tench in there,
No.
so why don't we keep this out?" And then they, put the tench in to keep there, and we move them over.
Yeah.
And then I said, and I have a rudd match. So they had a rudd match, and they caught 40 pound of rudd each.
Really?
Like
Yeah,
you know,
wow.
sort of 10 ounce.
Whenever we put like, obviously with the social media and YouTube stuff that I do, you put big carp on there all the time. But whenever you put something like a big red on there, they get so much more like appreciation from people because they're so rare now, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're beautiful things as well. When you see places that have got them that big, they're so rare, especially with the cormorants and stuff that are about. But
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah. Do you have people coming and targeting them now in Wick then? Or do you...
Yeah, kind of. So a few years ago when I sort of said about that, we took a load of rudd out there, and then the other rudd sort of grew a lot bigger. So some people heard about this, and then they started going targeting them, and then you go there now and cast out, and you might have to wait for a bit, but then they start coming on, and then they start getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and up to about pound and a half, say, maybe. That one that Mark had the other day was nearly kicking £2, I guess.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's a lovely fish.
If you've listened this far through the podcast, then I can only assume that you're just as passionate about fishery management as I am. Now, it's not about me, the Fishery Fastlane podcast, but it is associated with me and my business, BP Milling. If you haven't discovered the BP Milling YouTube channel and you enjoy this type of content, then on the BP Milling YouTube channel, there's endless content that deep dives on the topics that really turn the dial for fisheries. There's loads of helpful stuff for fishery managers on there. Any fishery businesses that wants to learn and get the best out of their business, then that is the channel for you. So go and check that out. Now, all that advice on the BP Milling YouTube channel comes from my experience in the industry, which starts way back when I was 17 at Sparsholt College and studying fishery management. I was just as passionate as a student at Sparsholt back then as I am now. In fact, I won an award at the end of my studies for the dedication to my fishery studies. I then went into the industry to work with leading fishery consultant Andrew Ellis, who's got far more industry experience than I'll ever have in dealing with fishery businesses. And I followed him around for the next 15 years, understanding him and his clients, fishery businesses, hundreds of different fishery businesses every single winter, getting in under the hood of their businesses and seeing the good decision making and the bad decision making and the influence that had on their business and their stock and their water quality. And that is what goes into the BP Milling YouTube channel. That experience, not only through working with Andrew, but also the last 20 years growing carp here at home on the farm, and my controversial opinion on how it should be done, and the results that I get that keep up with any leading fish farmer in the country. It's all packed into real punchy content for YouTube. You are spoilt for the amount of stuff that's on that channel. So once you finish listening to this podcast, head over to the BP Milling YouTube channel. Make sure you click that subscribe button, because there's loads more coming all the time for the channel to help you get the best from your fishery and understand what is good advice in fishery management and what is absolute nonsense.
So what year are we in now then, where we're leasing?
So so after that, we I think it was about 1956, we started renting River Ray at Cricklade.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the lease on that was ongoing. But I think it was just give the farmer a bottle of whiskey each year. And I think they used to just go and give the farmer a bottle of whiskey and then sit with the farmer and drink it with him. Okay. Yeah, that was the kind of handshake going on them days.
Was the river angling as popular as the pits, the still water fishing back then? But now it seems like, now we've got a lot of otters around the park. It seems like river angling, in my mind, seems to be sort of everyone be disheartened about the otters coming and ruining it all. But back then, sort of that would have been before we had so many otters about, would you said? Yeah. So was river angling then, was that thriving, would you say, or was that sort of?
I think so. I mean, I sort of, when I was in my teen years, I used to captain for the three counties team.
Right.
Gloucestershire, Oxfordshire, Wiltshire. I was captain for the team. So I used to travel around, and we used to fish the big competitions, big nationals, which was on rivers mostly. And, you know, you get hundreds of people, you know, there'd be like 10, 12 sections of 20, 30 people. And, you know, I think there was like 10 or 12 in a team back then. And so there'd be like 10 or 12 sections. And and there could be up to like 30 teams, because those could be 30, 40 teams in there.
Right.
So there would be, 30, 40 pegs per section, and 10 or 12 sections.
Right.
So it was 300-400 people.
Crikey.
Um,
Because for when I sort of got into angling, and that was 20 years ago, I guess, and it was before otters had really become an issue, and that was for me the sense of adventure when you're wandering down a river with a rod in your hand and just having a walk about, and that to me, it almost feels sad that you feel like that part of angling is lost to predation, but at the same time, are we getting in our own way of that, thinking that it's lost, and actually it's not as bad as what we think and the damage they've done?
Yeah, but I think some of it is laziness as well.
Yeah.
So people nowadays, they want to go to commercial fishery, whatever, where they can park behind their swim, set up, get their beers out, whatever, and just sort of have a bit of a, they don't really want to walk or do anything.
No.
But in my day of fishing when I was younger, was you might have to walk a mile to your peg.
Yeah. 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 No, you don't want to do that anymore, do they?
No. So you can see it with like the match side in our club nowadays. So you used to still get quite a lot of people going to the river match, but nowadays you can get, say, 16, 20 people turn up for a match at the lake, right? But then they have a river match where they have to walk,
Right.
and you get 4, 5 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when 20 years ago, so where I alluded to it all started for me in the water park with carp fishing, I went on a holiday with grandparents. They used to take us they had caravans, and they took us to the Holborn site on the Spine Road there. And it was to get us away, me and my brother, away from the parents through the summer holidays. And we stayed over there, and we came to, back then I was just really new to fishing, and he'd introduced me to angling. So I was dead keen time of your life when you first find fishing and you start enjoying it. And my grandfather took us over the road. The plan was to fish at Wick, what is now Wick. And we went on a recce over there. And I remember going into the car park, and we had a little look around 2 match lakes, which were day tickets. We could turn up to have a look where we were going to fish the next day. So we set up the caravan in the Holborn park and went over the road to have a recce, and pulled into the car park, had a look around the 2 day ticket lakes, and then we pulled around to the other car park, and that's when I was met with this huge sheet of water. And back then I never knew that lakes this size existed, and like all these lovely little islands in there, massive expanse of water. And that was my first experience of carp angling, I think, and that's why I always remember that. Like, that's probably to see where I'm now making a living out of the industry. Back then, walking around there and seeing these tents with 3 neat rods and shiny reels and alarms and things, and that's where that holds such a deep memory for me in carp fishing. And how far behind would I have been with Wick Water? When did you?
So we purchased Wick Water in 1960-ish, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it was predominantly so it was 2 lakes, but they were just predominantly, it's a trout fishery.
Okay.
So Wick Water was a trout fishery for about 20 odd years. Yeah. But then Brian Sefton, unfortunately he's gone now, Brian, and Mike Vines, who's the secretary for South Cerney Angling Club, they set up the left-hand side, which is now Franklin's.
Okay.
Between them, they set up that for a carp fishery. Probably like, I'd say the late 70s, early 80s, like that. Yeah, I'd say something like that, late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. They turned it into the carp fishery, the late 70s, early 80s, and that was right. They bought some Burton Bradstock carp. They bought about 100 of them, 2-pounders to go in there. And you know the lawns in Swindon?
No.
Up sort of towards Old Town.
The lawns.
Lawns
Is it
Angling
like-
Club.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I do.
Anyway, they did a deal with the lawns. They had some fish in there, about 10 to 15 pound. So they went up there and netted them and got some of the fish out, and then they put those in there. So I've got some old photographs actually of some of them catching some of the old Burton Bradstock carp.
Burton Bradstock, was that a fish farm?
Yeah, it was where is it? Burton Bradstock carp, £16. That was Mike. Yeah.
Oh wow! So that came from the lawns,
Yeah.
and that's Wick in the background.
Yeah.
Wow, looks like it's like freshly
Yeah.
quite barren.
Quite
Okay.
barren, yeah.
Oh wow,
There was some
that's a
pictures.
big fish for back then, isn't it?
Yeah. The Lawns fish, £17, 1985.
Okay.
They said Thames Water gave us a load of load doubles as well. And yeah,
Okay.
this one caught in 1985 from Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Not is that Mike Hatton?
Mike Vines.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah. So and then I started fishing it like in the early 80s. When they set it up, yeah. So I started carp fishing on there. But then we had our first fish kill there. Yeah. When was the first fish kill? I think it was probably in the it's about late 80s, early 90s, I think the first one. Because I remember going on the boat in the lake. It was me and my dad, and we had a big bonfire, and we were tipping these big 20, 30-pound carp on the fire. It was like devastating.
That's big fish for back then as well.
Yeah, it was devastating.
Christ.
I was just going around in the boat, netting all these fish. There was just all these dead carp just like floating everywhere. That was the first big one.
What did they put that down to?
I'm not sure what it was back then, but I think the second one, which was in like the 2000s, yeah, early 2000, maybe like 2000, because after I left 2003, I went off to Thailand. I was in Thailand and stuff, where I went off India and Thailand. I think it was probably 2008 or something like this.
Right.
Second fish kill. But I think what they did is where they had a load of fish from States and stuff, they moved them over. I think they overloaded the lake.
Wick.
Wick.
Right.
Yeah. From
Okay.
the other lakes,
Right.
and which stressed the fish out, and I think that they did, which caused the fish kill there.
Right.
And then we had like one last year where we had that freak weather, where you had that high pressure and no wind, everything dying off.
Right.
And it just,
That was in the autumn, is that right?
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people.
it
suffered
was
that.
throughout the country.
Yeah. A lot of issues with that.
It was terrible, yeah. So we lost about 6 of our big fish. In
6 of your big ones.
like 6 of the A team in there, really,
Right.
which is kind of like, sort of press a reset button on there again for us.
Are they old fish, them ones?
Yeah, some of those old
Did-
fish. Yeah.
Do they grow when you put new ones in? They must be. Is it a
Yeah,
one-eye mortise
I mean,
that
it
really
will-
cracks on?
It will, obviously, it just be a reset button, and then there'll be new fish coming through now.
Yeah.
But it was obviously devastating for us, and it's kind of knocked our. People seem to have boycotted it a little bit. It's been
Right.
really quiet since.
Okay. Yeah, they don't
Uh,
support you, do they?
But we still got the big common left.
Okay.
He's still in there.
What's that? 40?
Yeah, just over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You must have 40s in all of them, do you?
Yeah. So in here, the big commons in here, they're about 38, 39.
This is hand pull.
Yeah, hand pull, but they reckon there's going to be one. I did hear someone say that there was a 40 come out of here recently, but
Right.
I don't believe that
No.
at the moment. But there's a possible fish that's going to be 40.
Right.
Yeah. We've got in Dabchick, you've got the tiger fish which came out at 46 and a half.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, that is beautiful fish.
Yeah. Do you remember me and Andy came and worked on one of the match lakes at Wick, and we had We caught a 30 out of there, didn't we? We had some tail.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a big fish. Is that have grown in there?
Yeah, that was grown in, yeah.
That must have been a bit of a freak to have pushed on like that in a little match water.
That fish now is kicking 40, yeah.
Is it?
It's about 38, 39, yeah.
Crikey.
But the tiger fish, I got a photograph of the tiger fish. It was recently caught. I reckon this is probably one of the best looking fish in the water park.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. And that's in Dabchick. That's one we haven't spoken about yet. So we've got two of you. Wow, yeah.
It's a beautiful
unit. There's two waters then that we haven't yet spoke about.
Right.
Whitefriars and Dabchick.
Yeah.
Dabchick, you said, was the most recent water you acquired?
Yeah, so we bought Dabchick. I think just after I left, 2003. So I'd certainly say it's about 2005-06 that they bought Dabchick. Terry Barry owned it, and there's this bit of a story to Dabchick because the lake was 125,000, I think, and you had the corner, which was another the same amount. So I think that ironically they decided only to buy the lake and not the other corner because obviously it's still quite a bit of money them days. So I think they could only afford to perhaps buy the lake, but ironically they should have bought the corner as well because Lower Mill owned that little bit on the corner there.
Right.
Yeah, which caused a problem for us a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, why was that? Because they own one of your boundaries.
Yeah. So and then they trying to sell it to us recently. Yeah, but it's just stupid price, you know. He's
yeah, not for bloody 40 shillings for a year.
No, yeah.
No, okay. And one I hear about quite a lot, rumours, people that come to the mill for feed, for fishing or whatever, I always hear a few rumours about Whitefriars checking up some ridiculously huge fish.
Right.
What do you know about that? What's the history behind Whitefriars?
Yeah, so they acquired Whitefriars. Shit. Probably, I'm not sure the year that they acquired it. Probably late 1950s, 60s or something like that, I think. Yeah. And I think what they did is first of all, they got it, they had a 5-year rent free on it because it was just trying to establish the lake. Yeah. Because it was another trout lake. Because South Cerney Angling Club years and years ago, it was basically like a trout, it was predominantly like a trout fishery because you had Wick was a trout fishery. I think this was a trout fishery out here as well. There's loads of trout in it. Yeah. And obviously they started trout fishing on the river, didn't it? But then it moved from that. So when they acquired Lake 26, which is Whitefriars, they had this thing. They made it into another trout lake, and they put 35,000 fingerling brown trout from Scotland in there. And then after 2 years, they were about 12 to 14 inches long. Yeah, sort of plate size, nice sort of size. And then there's a funny story to it. I think what happened, there was a guy that tried to rescue these fish from a lake in Swindon. And he tipped them all in the lake in Whitefriars from this lake in Swindon. And the fish that he tipped in there were pike.
Right.
Which ate most of the trout.
They seem to get big in trout waters, don't they? The pike. Okay.
So, I think that was the end of their trout fishery.
The start of pike fishing.
So then, yeah.
Okay.
So then in 1965, they, I think it was 1965, they bought 300 bream and 50 carp
Right.
and put it into
Interesting.
Whitefriars.
Okay.
And then we had a couple of, because we had like quite a close relationship with Siren Park as well. So I remember they did one netting from Siren Park, I guess, probably in the 70s. And then in the 80s, late 80s, I'd say, we went there fishing it, and he wanted to take some of the carp out, Lord Bathurst. So we went there and then we netted it and moved them all. And we put the carp into Whitefriars along with a load of silvers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so some of those, maybe there's maybe a few left that from there.
Right. Okay.
We put in there. We put them right in the corner, right by the sailing club.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And that was the first lot that I remember. They came from Siren Park.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you know, like back then, with it being predominantly trout around the water park, from what it sounds like, is that just an industry or a sector of fisheries that has just died out, do you think, because it's perhaps an old pastime that just hasn't really been passed down, is it?
Yeah, from around here.
I wonder as well if as part of like the summers we get now, being so warm and trout being predominantly riverine species, they want cool, well oxygenated water, and now we're getting these really warm summers and algal blooms that as a species they're not used to. It makes you wonder, but you don't see. Is there any trout fisheries around here? I think there's
Over Lake Shade.
Yeah,
Lake Shade.
yeah,
Yeah, Timmy trout.
yeah. Do you know what that is? Whether that's many in that sort of sector anymore fishing for trout?
I don't know, but it's something that because it's something that I've been thinking about going into this year, because I did acquire a section of the River Thames over at Cricklade, and I did think about seeing whether I could push this forward and doing some stocking to make it like a fly fishery.
Okay.
To have that little section back.
Yeah.
Bring a little bit of the history back,
Yeah.
in just one little section, because obviously nowadays it's predominantly carp fishing. But it'd be nice to sort of bring a little bit in so you've got something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
South Cerney Angling Club is definitely quite unique. We work with a lot of angling clubs that either run out of a shed or on a budget or leasing waters, but South Cerney obviously sounds like it's got a lot of assets that it's built over the years, including this clubhouse that we're sat in. I can't think of any clubs where we've been and they've got a bar and outdoor seating with screens and building quite a community for the anglers. How has that sort of journey been in building the assets that the club now has?
Yeah, so like I said, originally it was over on the headland over at Bradley's. So that's where the clubhouse was. And then in 1985, they had a decision to move the clubhouse to here. And then I think it's funded through some. I think there was a pollution in the River Ray again,
Right.
Which they acquired about 18 grand, and I think split between some of the farmers and South Cerney Angling Club.
So that was compensation for fish losses.
Fish losses.
Okay.
So I think they bought this. They decided to build it in 1985, and they built it in 1986. And if I remember rightly, it was about 40,000 quid to do it.
To build this.
Yeah, to build this.
Yeah.
And me and Gary Searle, the chairman now, me and his son passed away in 2003. We was like best friends. Me and him and Robbie Goff, a builder from the village, we built the piece outside, like where the smoking shower is. It was a patio area, so we had to come down and after work, and we used to build it, and then we used to have a few beers afterwards for like payment, But then it sort of the place when this place was built, like I said, in 1986. Then it introduced. So we built a skittle alley.
Okay.
They put the skittle alley in, and they had the darts, and then it was run by the committee back then. So they run the bar. Yeah, certain committee members run the bar, and then it was an introduction to the social side, where they allowed people from the village to come and join the social membership.
Right.
Yeah, which sort
It's
of
quite good to integrate locals into,
yeah.
because you want to sort of have angling as a positive thing in locally, don't you? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's,
That was the
Part of it.
introduction to it. But before, it was just like the clubhouse was just for members, like the angling club. So you go in. I remember going over the old one on the headland in Bradley's, as a kid, just having a Coke and a packet of crisps or something, and it'd just be me and my dad and like a couple of people in there, like the guy, just there was no one really in there. But then, I remember in the 80s and the 90s in this place, it's like you come in here on a Friday, Saturday night, it was heaving.
right.
It
Wow.
was like, yeah.
Because nowadays the pub culture's sort of died, isn't it? Like we're driving through the Wootton Bassett where I grew up, and there was probably, as a kid, probably a dozen or more pubs, and now there's probably 2 or 3 left.
Yeah.
And you think that's why I think places like this, that you keep it running through community of the club members. Is that how you do it? You don't pay bar staff, that people chip in, members of the committee chip in to keep it all running?
Not now.
Not now.
So it's changed now. So my wife now, so I was like the manager of South Cerney Angling Club, and I was doing it, the lakes and the clubhouse. But then the company was like, it was nearly killing me. So I said to my wife, why don't you, and I said to Gary about it, like, why don't we I'll train Nui up, my wife, and get her to take over the manager of the bar. Because people rather look at a woman anyway, instead of me stood behind her. And so I trained her up to take over the manager of the bar. So now she's the manager of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I'm the fisheries manager of the lakes and stuff. But it's kind of, I still oversee it. So we pay the staff. So we have other girls and people working in here, so they're paid.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
This is it's run as a big business nowadays, to be honest, because my mum's a treasurer, and so we've kind of, it's all run a lot differently nowadays than what it was years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look around the park, the Cotswolds is predominantly big, low stock gravel pits. There's very few. I think what South Cerney's doing for the park is bringing people into angling, because there's nothing around here that offers entry level angling as such. I think that you must be the only sort of match waters, like Wick Water. You've got the 2 well stocked pits there. It's quite a good entry level for people exploring angling or finding angling. And like you said about the disabled angling that you're supporting, you said?
Yeah, so we've always supported the disabled angling. Brian Sefton started it years ago. Originally, when we used to be held on Bradley's Hills and here, so it was up to sort of 200 or 300 people. Used to come. It was sponsored by Whitbread back then, so they knew the area manager for Whitbread, so they used to get all the beer and stuff, and they used to, I remember going around in cars and vans and stuff, like handing all pints of free beer out to everybody. It was like brilliant, but the people used to get turning up for that was amazing. Like these anglers, they had no arms, and they used to cast with their feet and turn the bail arm over. It was like amazing, like what they used to do. Like really, like it was fantastic.
Oh my God.
Back then. But and we used to ask John Wilson. So I used to hand out the trophies with John Wilson to the juniors and stuff, and some of the winners of the disabled event. So I'd be there with John Wilson handing out all the prizes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to come along. But nowadays that's kind of like dropped off a little bit from the sort of 200-300 people.
Yeah.
Nowadays we still run it. We run it on Gilman's and States now.
Right.
Generally, and sort of get about 50 people now. Yeah.
Do you find though, being the most, probably an accessible price point, was it you charge for membership at South Cerney?
So I think so, for a day permit's 120 quid.
Right.
Yes.
So So do you find that having such an accessible price point, does that come with its challenges of who turns up, maybe being quite novice anglers? Does that cause friction with perhaps those that are more advanced anglers that perhaps, because you hear a few stories like the Whitefriars, people that say that some people tell you that it's too busy, you don't want to bother with that, and people that fish in it say no, it's fine. And it seems like a lot of your waters are quite busy, and because they are accessible to those early sort of anglers that are just discovering it. Do you find that comes with its problems of people perhaps breaking rules or disrespecting the club?
Yeah, I mean, you always get that. I think things like Whitefriars, people try to put people off on Whitefriars because they don't want people knowing what's going on over there. And a lot of people go to Whitefriars as a novice angler, and they look at it because it's 85 acres, and then they go, "Oh my God, what do I do with this?"
Yeah, I just don't.
They'd rather go and shoot fish in a barrel, in their little pond. But
Yeah.
I grew up on fishing Whitefriars, and I love that place. And I would say, don't be frightened of it. Just pick a spot, pick a swim, and just find a spot and just focus on it.
Yeah.
And the fish will come to you.
Yeah.
It might take longer nowadays than what it was years ago, because it was predominantly a bream water.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had bream in there and carp, but the bream just disappeared. They've just disappeared. I don't know what's happened to the bream. It's like a mystery, because I went away and then I came back, and that lake changed.
Okay.
I mean, it used to be, they used to wash their cement in it from Bradley's, so it used to be like a bluey colour from the cement.
Right.
And it fished its best when it was windy and you had waves like about 4 foot high.
Wow.
And it fished fantastic then.
Yeah.
But that all stopped, I guess, where they couldn't put stuff in waters, all new rules and regulations changed and stuff.
Okay.
So it changed the style of the lake, and then weeds started growing in there, and yeah.
So I think we've had a bit of a flavour today when we were setting up recording, and a knock on the door before we'd even started, and I thought, oh no, we're going to be disrupted the whole time. And it was somebody that got a fish snagged, and it seemed like a little bit of a flavour into what your life is now.
Yeah.
And the phone's ringing all the time, and you're firefighting all the time, different issues around. What is your sort of day to day? Do you find yourself just buzzing around?
Yeah. So I mean, this week I say it's coming into silly season now, so the start of the season, where I'll be down here at say 8 o'clock in the morning, and I might not get home till sort of 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then I might have to come back down here to help my wife if it's busy in here, or and then I get back home and I might be, it's still 9, 10 o'clock at night, and people are messaging me like, "Oh, I want to join. I feel like joining. Can you help me? Like, what would you,
Yeah.
Loads of different questions about loads of different things, and it could be 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm still getting these messages through. Sometimes I just feel like,
Yeah. So
it just doesn't switch off sometimes.
No. Are you the main decision maker, or is there a committee that you have to all agree on things? One thing we find with angling clubs that have got committees, what we call committee holdback, where they've got an idea, then they have to have a meeting, then they have to have a meeting about the meeting, and a year's passed before they've just been and ahhing about one decision. You think how much time they lose, and part of the reason I've called this the Fishery Fast Lane is because I want to take people away from that rolling ideas around and thinking whether we try and keep things simple in our advice and be proactive in your management, because you learn so much more.
Yeah.
But angling clubs that have got committees, we find that when you've got so many people that have to agree before anything can get progressed, it just slows everything down. And how do you find that?
So generally, I think it is committee run, and I kind to give people ideas, like my ideas, and I do put it towards the committee because I think I should do. Yeah. But generally, a lot of them trust my thought, so they trust me to sort of do things. But if it's going to cost a lot of money or do something like this, I always go to the committee and I will say to them, no, I think perhaps we should do this and we should do that, and it's going to cost this and whatever. Like, what do you think? But generally, they're kind of on my side, and but we kind of work together.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think we got quite a good committee now, where everyone has their little bit of part to do, and everyone's working together quite nicely. To be fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otters. What has your experience been of them?
Well, my first experience with otters was at Dabchick when I came back from Thailand. So I came back in 2015, and they had some otter problem on the Dabchick. Well, they had it next door, Netherwood, but we were kind of lucky because there was a beaver on Dabchick, and the beaver kept the otters off.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so the otters stayed in Netherwood and wiped Netherwood out.
Right.
But we did have a couple of fish kills from the otters at Dabchick.
Right.
But like I said, we were kind of lucky because there was a beaver on there, which kept he was felling the trees quite nicely.
Is it still there now?
No, they captured it.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn that last year, I could have sworn that I seen one. I was fishing, went under my rods and thought, that wasn't an otter. I could have sworn it was a beaver. It was around that sort of area. But yeah, I did wonder if they're still about.
Yeah, they captured that one.
Okay.
And then after I did find like 2 or 3 carcasses there. After they had captured the beaver.
Okay.
Yeah, because then the otters started going on there.
We need beavers.
And then I said, right, we need to fence this quick. So we did that. I think it was about 20,000 quid. But like I said, when we had to corner that problem, Lower Mill made it an issue.
Right.
Yeah, the guy he wanted like a back payment for it.
Right.
But then the owners, like Martin, they put their building yard in there, and I went to him, and then he said, yeah, just go around down, and then I did it. It was change of person overnight, and it was change of decision.
Right. Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did some work in Netherwood a few years ago, and seen there firsthand what the beavers had done felling trees was pretty impressive.
It's impressive.
Like, you see like cartoons of it, but it's literally exactly how it is.
Yeah, no, it was really cool actually. Like seeing what they do.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Have you seen, as years have progressed, the otters become worse? I've certainly seen more. And
We
more
have
every
one
year.
in and out of here.
Yeah.
There's it was on my phone the other day. I saw it. My friend Giles Harris, he rang me on a Sunday night and he said, Dan, I've just been driven past entrance to Wick. He said, and entrance to Hampool, and he said an otter just running in front of me across the road into Isis. And he said it was about 8 o'clock. So I went on the cameras in the office, and there he was coming out here, just wandering up through the fence. But it was a small one, looked
Right.
like a bit of a female.
Yeah.
I got it on video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can show you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do have a little bit of a problem there, but we haven't touched wood. He just seems to come through here.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're not fenced here at Hampool.
Not fenced here.
I guess you have quite a lot of traffic going in and out with anglers. Perhaps I don't know whether that's. But I find they just get more and more brazen when I've seen them.
But
seen
yeah,
on
they are.
footpaths,
Yeah,
and you think they just plod along in front of me like it's a bloody dog.
that's right. And we saw when I went to Wick after we fenced Dabchick. I went down to Wick and I went onto the island and I saw 4 or 5 carcasses where the otter had been in and taken them. So I said, right, we need to do this now. So we fenced that straight away.
Right.
I got that done. So it cost us about 50,000 quid, to do both of them.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that was sort of those 2 that we own. That was sort of those complexes sealed and
Yeah.
otter proofs, which was really good, to be fair.
So as well as all the lakes you've got and the rivers, you've also got the tackle shop. Do you lease that to the tackle den? At Wick?
Yeah. So we had some money in the bank before COVID, and it was not doing any, no interest or anything in there. So I said to the committee, why didn't we build our own tackle shop on where the black shed was at Wick, and then we could ask the tackle den to come in and rent it, and then we could put everything together. It's all on the same complex,
Yeah.
So that's what we decided to do. So I think Dave Savage got a quote from somebody to do it, and it was like 300,000 quid. So I said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've never done anything like that before in my life, So I decided to project manage it, and I said to everyone, I think I could do it for about 100,000.
Right.
And so I took it on, and we did it for just over, So,
and that must have been before the Triple SI was, because wouldn't that stop
Yeah,
that now? They
it
wouldn't
was
like
just
that, would they?
it was just sort of all happening at the same kind of time. There was Peter Holmes from Natural England. He was like retiring, it was his like legacy bit, I think, to put the
Okay.
Treble SI on the water park,
Right.
before he retired.
But yeah, it brings it all on site, doesn't it? I know you like I alluded to a little bit about bringing the younger generation into angling to make sure that there's a future. I think you do quite a lot, don't you, for that younger generation, the junior section of the club?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I said, why don't we start our own junior coaching? Because Craig used to do it before, but then Craig sort of stopped coming down. Craig Hunt. So I said, right, let's get the junior coaching program back up again. So I got a few of us, there's 10 of us, and we all went through I paid for us all to go through the level 1 and level 2. So we've got 10 level 2 coaches now.
Okay. Wow, 10.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, level 2's free. So everyone can just do it on themselves.
Yeah.
So we can do like private tuition on the weekends.
Yeah.
But I do like a couple of events each year. I do one in July and one in August, but we do a couple of also outside of that. But in the club book, there's one in July and one in August. And we run, like, we do it on Saturdays, and each kid has like an hour session. There's sort of 8 coaches, so we can do like 8 kids an hour, whatever, 8 to 10 of us, 8 to 10 kids an hour, and it's all for free. What we do is I try to generate some cash from people, like donating some of the old tackle and stuff, and sometimes we might sell some of it off, and some of it we keep, and we make things like sets of tackle up for youngsters that want to get into angling.
Do you find them taking up on like becoming into angling if they come along for a coaching session? Do you find the uptake of the sport is...
So before I started this program up, we used to get 10 junior anglers join a year.
Right.
And the last couple of years, since I've been doing the junior coaching program, we're getting up to 100, 150 juniors.
Wow.
Joining.
That's made a huge difference then.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah. Is that funded? Was that like supported by any... There must be organisations that would support stuff like that.
So the EA get fishing fund. You can get an improvement fishing fund that you can apply for. So you can do it through
You'd have thought the rod license.
The Angling Trust.
Yeah.
There's one from the Angling Trust and one from the EA.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do. But it's quite a bit of paperwork. You have to do, it takes a bit of time to go, you have to apply online and everything. And you have to sort of then generally go into it, and you have to write down what you want to do, and you have to really specifically write they want to know everything.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Not easy.
I think it's important though that we have people like you at doing stuff like that, because I find there's a danger with angling becoming a little bit. I was saying something the other day. I think people see the angling now as a little bit of a stain on the countryside, and I think it's important that we bring new anglers into the industry under the right disciplines, so they know what they can and can't do and what's accepted and what's not, because it's become quite a scruffy thing now. I think we see a lot of people in matching tracksuits and flat peaks and litter everywhere, and we don't want to be associating ourselves with things like that. So I think it's really important that anglers coming into angling are disciplined to know what's right and what's wrong, and I think people like you doing that is going to be a big part in doing stuff like that. So that in itself, it's showing that it's working from 10 a year to 150.
Yeah,
it's
it's great.
Concept. Yeah. Okay. Well, Dan, thank you very much for having us here for my first ever podcast. You've made it quite easy for me with all the notes you've got there. I know you were flustering a bit this morning with dates and not knowing what happened and when and putting it all in the right sequence. And I've got a load of notes myself that I made, and I've barely touched on them at all. I think you've kept the podcast flowing with your stories and the history of it. And I know we've barely scratched the surface of all of it. So I think it'd be really good to come back and dig a bit deeper at a later date. But thank you so much for hosting for me this year. It's great facilities here and great to see the club growing. And actually, it's quite rare to see, like I said about angling clubs having the assets there behind them that secures the future for angling. Because I think with angling now, we see a lot of clubs which have leases which they're not secure. And actually, in angling, we need to be making enough money out of angling to make it a viable choice for the landowner to want to do it. So I think with clubs like you making it accessible, with owning your assets and making it an accessible price point for people to come into the sport, the stuff you're doing with juniors is great for angling, and well done and thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you very much.